Erich Fromm's book, The Art of Loving, examines the idea that love is a skill that can be learned, rather than only an instinctive feeling. Fromm starts off by clearing up common misunderstandings, such as the idea that love is effortless and doesn't take work. He contends that, like other arts like music or painting, love is an art that demands dedication, skill, and practice. Fromm talks about the several types of love, such as self-love, love for God, maternal love, brotherly love, and romantic love. He highlights that love is about caring, responsibility, respect, and understanding in addition to passion. Fromm asserts that genuine self-love, not in a narcissistic sense, but via self-awareness and acceptance, is intimately related to the capacity to love others. One of the core messages is that modern society tends to commodify love, treating it as something to be obtained or exchanged. Fromm critiques this view, advocating for a love that transcends mere attraction or need, focusing on mutual growth and well-being. He suggests that to master the art of love, individuals must cultivate their entire personality and embrace values such as humility, courage, faith, and discipline. And overall, The Art of Loving is a philosophical and psychological exploration that encourages readers to see love as a form of active engagement with the world, highlighting the importance of both personal and social transformation in achieving true, meaningful connections. This audiobook is brief, but it captures the essence of Erich Fromm's book, distilling its core ideas and insights into a concise and accessible format. We hope you enjoy it. True love is not measured by how many times you say "I love you," but by how deeply you can show it. Chapter 1. Is love an art? I invite you to rethink how you perceive love. Perhaps you believe that love is something that happens naturally, a feeling that arrives effortlessly, almost by chance. However, I challenge this idea because it often leads to disappointment and misunderstanding. Instead, I propose that love is an art, just like playing an instrument or mastering a craft. And like any art, it demands effort, knowledge, and dedicated practice. Consider this. Why do so many people struggle with love, even though it is something we all yearn for deeply? The reason, I suggest, is that most of us see love as a passive state, a feeling that will come to us if we are fortunate. But this is a misconception. True love is not about waiting for the right person or the perfect moment. It requires active participation. Like learning any skill, becoming good at love means understanding its principles and practicing them with care and intention. I also want you to think about how modern society has influenced your views on love. We live in a world that emphasizes success, popularity, and appearances, leading us to treat love like a transaction. We are led to believe that if we can just find the perfect person, everything will magically fall into place. But this approach turns love into a mere market exchange, missing out on the depth and nurturing that true love offers. With this introduction, I encourage you to see love differently. Instead of seeking it as something external, start viewing it as a skill you can develop and grow with. This shift in mindset is where the journey to mastering the art of love truly begins. Misconceptions about love. Many people hold the misconception that love is a passive experience, something that simply happens to us if we are fortunate enough. This belief treats love as if it were a stroke of luck or an event out of our control, rather than something we can actively cultivate and master. I argue against this view because it overlooks the fact that love is not merely an object to be acquired, but a skill that must be developed. The idea that love can be treated as an object stems from the way our society often approaches relationships. People are conditioned to focus on being loved rather than on the act of loving. For many, the problem is not how to love, but how to be lovable, leading them to seek ways to make themselves appealing, either through success, physical attractiveness, or charm. This approach, however, treats love as a commodity, something to be bought and sold based on external attributes, much like a product in a market. Furthermore, the prevalent focus on finding the right person reinforces this notion. Love becomes all about selecting the perfect object for affection, rather than nurturing the capacity to love. This mindset is rooted in the modern view of relationships, where finding the ideal partner is seen as the primary goal, instead of working on the ability to give and receive love sincerely and selflessly. These misconceptions hinder our understanding of love and make it difficult to grasp its true nature. To truly love, one must shift the focus from external validation to developing the internal capacity to connect, understand, and care for others. Only by approaching love as an active skill can we begin to see it not as something to stumble upon, but as an art that requires patience, practice, and dedication. The art of loving. If we are to truly understand love, we must see it as an art, just like music or painting. To master any art, you need two things: knowledge and practice. The same applies to love. If you wish to truly love, you need to understand its nature, to grasp the theory behind it, and be willing to refine your ability to love through consistent practice. Consider how any craft is learned. When someone wants to be a musician, they do not merely pick up an instrument and expect to play it perfectly. They study music theory, understand the instrument, and then spend countless hours practicing, making mistakes, and improving. This process is just as relevant for love. You cannot expect to master love without effort. You must study what it means to love and apply that understanding in your relationships. However, just knowing the theory is not enough. True mastery comes when theory and practice merge, creating a natural, intuitive understanding. In love, this means not just knowing what love should be, but actively embodying those principles in your daily interactions. This requires patience, humility, and discipline, the same qualities needed to excel in any other field. Moreover, there is a third element that is crucial to mastering any art. It must matter deeply to you. For a musician, music is a passion. For a painter, the art of capturing beauty is their life's pursuit. Similarly, to truly excel in the art of loving, love must hold a central place in your life. It must be something you prioritize above many other pursuits like success, wealth, or status. Sadly, in our modern society, many treat love as secondary, investing their energy in chasing external achievements instead. This neglect is a key reason why so many fail at love despite their desire for it. To learn to love, you must approach it as you would any other significant skill. Study it, practice it, and, most importantly, make it a vital part of your existence. Only then can love be more than a fleeting emotion. It can become a lasting and fulfilling art. Effort and discipline. To become a master of the art of love, one must be disciplined, willing to put in time and effort, and have a real dedication. No one can become competent at loving without adopting the same level of dedication, just as no one can become proficient at painting or playing the piano without consistent practice. Like all other arts, love has fundamental principles that must be understood and consistently practiced in order to achieve true mastery. Discipline in love, however, is not about rigid, unloving norms that are imposed from without. It must be an internal expression of your will, something you develop. Making discipline a natural part of your life, where it feels fun and almost necessary, is the essence of true discipline. Consider it similar to learning to play an instrument. You practice daily because you sincerely want to get better rather than because someone is pressuring you to, and eventually it becomes a source of happiness and contentment. Yet, many people struggle with this concept of discipline, especially in modern society. The structure of our daily lives often leads to a form of rebellion. We spend hours in regimented, repetitive work, which drains us, and then crave unstructured leisure, seeking an escape. This creates a tendency to avoid discipline in our personal lives, including our approach to love. But without discipline, life loses its focus and becomes chaotic, preventing us from truly cultivating meaningful, loving relationships. Furthermore, discipline alone is not enough. Concentration and patience are equally vital. Our culture often promotes a lack of focus, encouraging us to consume multiple things at once: music, books, food, and conversations all at the same time. This scattered way of living makes it difficult for us to be present, truly attentive, and deeply engaged, which is essential for love. Concentration means being fully there, whether you are spending time with a loved one or simply reflecting on your feelings. It requires pushing past distractions and embracing a state of mindfulness. Patience, too, is a rare commodity in a world that prizes speed. We expect instant results in everything, but love is not something that can be rushed. It requires time to grow, to deepen, to become something meaningful. For many, practicing patience may seem frustrating, especially when we have been conditioned to expect quick gratification. But in love, patience is key. It is the ability to nurture, to wait, and to let things unfold naturally without forcing them. To truly master love, you must incorporate discipline, concentration, and patience into your life. These are not qualities you can switch on just when you are with a loved one. They must be embedded in how you live your life every day, influencing all your actions, interactions, and even your inner thoughts. Only through this holistic approach can love become more than a fleeting passion. It can become a steady, enduring, and fulfilling art. Cultural and social influences. Due in large part to materialistic values that place an emphasis on success, power, and beauty, modern society has greatly warped our understanding of love. Nowadays, love is frequently viewed through the prism of materialism, where becoming desirable and deserving of love is the aim rather than learning how to truly love people. This view turns love into a commodity, something that, like a product in a market, may be purchased, sold, or exchanged based on one's outward characteristics. Think about the way we have been taught to view relationships. Many people concentrate on how to look good, hoping to increase their attractiveness through success, money, or physical perfection. For instance, women may place more emphasis on physical attractiveness or charm, while men may strive for wealth and power. The desire to be deemed lovable by society's standards motivates both. However, this method turns love into a business deal in which both parties determine the other's market value. People choose partners in the same way that they choose products, trying to strike the best deal to get the most for their money. The concept of love has also been shaped by the modern capitalist system, which encourages the commodification of everything, including human relationships. Just as we shop for goods, we have come to approach love in the same way. The characteristics that make a person attractive can shift with societal trends just as fashion does. In the early 20th century, certain traits were desirable. Today, others are. We follow the trend, hoping to fit into what is currently deemed lovable, much like a product tailored to meet consumer demand. This mentality also influences how people view love itself. Love becomes a way to escape loneliness, to secure a kind of mutual agreement where two people can find solace in each other, protecting themselves from the isolation they fear. However, this is not true love, but a form of pseudo-love, a temporary solution to a deeper problem that modern society has created. Real love requires moving beyond this transactional view, engaging with others not as objects to be acquired, but as individuals to be truly understood and cherished. The influence of cultural and social structures, especially capitalism, has made it challenging to understand and practice real love. To love genuinely, we must break away from these materialistic values, recognizing that love is not about possessing or being possessed, but about connection, empathy, and understanding. Only by shifting away from these distorted perceptions can we begin to grasp the true nature of love as a practice that enriches our lives rather than just another commodity to be acquired. The difference between falling in love and loving. The experience of falling in love is one of the most captivating moments a person can go through. When two people, who were once strangers, suddenly break down the barriers between them and feel an intense closeness, it feels like a miracle. This moment of unity is thrilling, especially for those who have long felt isolated or lonely. The sudden connection, often sparked or intensified by sexual attraction, brings a rush of emotion that makes everything seem perfect. Yet, this initial stage, as exciting as it may be, is not the same as the enduring act of loving. When people speak of falling in love, they are usually describing that initial burst of passion. It is an experience marked by a deep sense of discovery and closeness, but it is also, by nature, temporary. As time goes on, the novelty of this intimacy fades. The two individuals come to know each other more deeply, and the mystery that once heightened their bond begins to dissolve. The initial excitement, which many mistake for the essence of love, gradually wanes, and what remains is often the reality of two people confronting their differences, disappointments, and everyday routines. I want to stress this point. Falling in love is not a sign of true love. It is merely the beginning of a journey that can lead to it. This passionate, overwhelming experience can trick us into thinking we have found lasting love, but in truth, it reflects our previous sense of loneliness rather than the depth of our connection. The intensity of the feelings does not guarantee that they will last. What many consider proof of love is, more often than not, a response to the emptiness they felt before, suddenly filled by the presence of another. But true love is about staying together and growing together, not about the short-lived rush of falling. It takes work, perseverance, and a readiness to fully accept and comprehend the other person. Mature love recognizes that a genuine and enduring link is created via the constant work to care for, support, and develop one another, whereas the initial desire aims to transcend separateness. The consistent warmth of a dedicated, developing connection is what this love is all about, not the fireworks of a brand new romance. Real love doesn't meet you at your best, it meets you in your mess. Chapter 2. The Theory of Love. Love, the answer to the problem of human existence. To understand love, we must first grasp why it is so essential to human existence. Unlike animals, whose connections are largely driven by instinct, humans have evolved to a state where their survival and sense of purpose cannot rely solely on biological impulses. Once we emerged from the natural world, we were no longer governed by instinct alone, but faced with the daunting freedom of choice, consciousness, and self-awareness. This evolution introduced a profound problem: how to reconcile our desire for individuality with our longing for unity and connection. This is where love becomes the answer. In essence, love is humanity's response to the problem of isolation. We are born into a state of separateness, and throughout our lives, we struggle with a fundamental sense of disconnection from others and the world around us. This feeling of separation can be deeply unsettling, even terrifying, because it reminds us of our mortality and vulnerability. Yet, it is precisely this sense of isolation that drives us to seek union. Love, then, is our attempt to bridge this gap, to overcome our separateness, and to connect deeply with another person. But not all attempts to escape isolation lead to true love. Many forms of union are merely illusions, temporary solutions that ultimately fail to resolve the deeper need for connection. People may turn to addictive behaviors, obsessive work habits, or even unhealthy relationships, hoping these will provide the comfort of unity. However, true love is not about losing oneself in another person or merging into a collective identity. It is about preserving one's individuality while also experiencing a profound bond. It is a state of being where two individuals connect deeply, not out of need or dependency, but out of mutual respect, care, and understanding. This journey towards love requires courage, self-awareness, and the willingness to embrace vulnerability. It is not an easy path because it demands that we confront our fears and insecurities. We have to let go of the defenses we build around ourselves and allow another person to see us as we truly are. Through this process, we not only connect with someone else, but also discover deeper aspects of ourselves. Thus, love is not just the answer to the problem of isolation. It is a path to self-realization and growth. It allows us to transcend the barriers of individuality and experience a more profound sense of unity without losing our sense of self. In this way, Love fulfills a unique function in human life. It is not merely an emotion or a state, but an active, ongoing practice that helps us navigate the challenges of existence. It gives meaning to our lives, helping us overcome the anxieties that come with freedom, and it offers a way to connect deeply with the world and those around us. Without love, we remain trapped in our separateness, forever longing for a unity that eludes us. With love, we find the courage to face life fully, knowing that, through it, we can find harmony and connection. Types of love, including brotherly love, motherly love, erotic love, self-love, and love of God. The concept of love is not one-dimensional. In my exploration of love, I describe different types, each fulfilling a unique role in human life. Understanding these various forms helps us see that love is not limited to romantic passion, but encompasses a wide range of connections that allow us to bond with others, the world, and even ourselves. The most fundamental form of love is brotherly love. This is the love between equals, a sense of solidarity that brings us together as human beings. It is not exclusive, but rather inclusive, directed toward all people. Brotherly love is about caring for others, understanding their struggles, and supporting them without seeking anything in return. It is the essence of human connection, where the focus is on unity and the recognition of our shared humanity. Without brotherly love, no other type of love can truly thrive because it forms the basis for all human relationships. Then there is motherly love, which differs significantly because it is not reciprocal. It is the unconditional love a mother gives to her child, nurturing, caring, and protective. This form of love is selfless and does not seek anything in return. It is also a love that must allow the child to grow and separate from the mother, encouraging independence rather than fostering dependency. The true challenge of motherly love lies in letting go, in supporting the child's development into an independent being. This aspect makes it one of the most demanding yet profound expressions of love. Another form, and perhaps the most complex, is erotic love. Unlike brotherly or motherly love, erotic love is exclusive. It is the desire for a complete union with another person, a merging of two into one. However, this form of love often comes with misconceptions. Many confuse the initial intense attraction of falling in love with true love. But real erotic love goes beyond passion. It requires depth, mutual understanding, and a commitment that continues even after the initial excitement fades. True erotic love is not just about physical attraction, but about connecting deeply with another person's essence. Another crucial element that is frequently misinterpreted and denigrated is self-love. True self-love is not selfish, despite what many perceive to be narcissism. It is the ability to treat oneself with the same consideration and compassion that one would show to others. Since love is inherently internal, it is impossible to truly love others without first loving oneself. Accepting one's imperfections, working towards self-improvement, and ensuring one's well-being are all components of self-love. It serves as the cornerstone upon which all other kinds of love can grow. Lastly, there is love of God, which varies significantly depending on cultural and individual interpretations. Psychologically, this love is an expression of the need to transcend our separateness and connect with something greater than ourselves. For some, it is a religious or spiritual experience. For others, it might be a philosophical or ethical ideal. The love of God represents our desire to unite with the infinite, to feel a sense of belonging to a universe that is vast and mysterious. This form of love reflects the human aspiration for meaning, purpose, and ultimate connection. These types of love demonstrate that love is not a single emotion, but a spectrum of experiences, each contributing to the richness of human life. Understanding them helps us see how love can be practiced, developed, and deepened, ultimately allowing us to connect more meaningfully with ourselves, others, and the world around us. True love is when your heart and your mind are saying the same thing. Chapter 3. The practice of love. The art of love is not just a theory, but a practical endeavor that demands consistent effort and personal development. Mastering love is not about following a set of instructions or relying on sudden bursts of emotion. Instead, it involves shaping one's entire character, approaching life with an orientation toward productivity, and cultivating virtues that make love sustainable and fulfilling. Love is a dynamic activity, a process that requires continuous practice rather than a passive state that one simply falls into. To truly practice love, it is essential to develop a productive character. Productivity, in this context, is not about producing material goods or achieving external success. Rather, it is about nurturing one's own capacities, developing inner strengths, and becoming a person who is genuinely capable of love. This involves qualities like care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge, attributes that are deeply intertwined and must be fostered together. Care is the willingness to look after others. Responsibility means taking charge not only of one's own actions, but also of how they affect others. Respect involves seeing others as they are and appreciating their individuality. And knowledge is the ability to understand oneself and others at a deeper level. In our contemporary society, there is often a misconception that love should be effortless. People expect love to happen to them without understanding that, like any other art, it requires discipline, patience, and hard work. For instance, if someone wishes to learn music or painting, they would not expect to master it overnight. They would study, practice, make mistakes, and learn from them. The same is true for love. One cannot become a master at loving without dedicating oneself to the process of growth and self-reflection. It requires us to confront our flaws, our fears, and our selfish tendencies. Only through this ongoing commitment can one move from the superficial excitement of infatuation to the deeper, more enduring practice of love. Being involved and present in our interactions is a necessary part of practicing love. It calls on us to pay close attention to other people, listen intently, and react empathetically. All too frequently, contemporary life diverts us from these basic yet crucial routines. Our attention is diverted from meaningful encounters by the constant barrage of noise, both literal and metaphorical. Finding the inner peace that allows us to concentrate on the needs, wants, and emotions of the people we care about is essential to true love. This degree of care and attention must be fostered continuously. It cannot be sporadic. We develop our capacity for good love by consistent, deliberate effort. Another critical element in the practice of love is the development of humility. Love cannot flourish in the presence of arrogance, as it thrives on equality and mutual respect. Humility allows us to see others as equals, to recognize their strengths without diminishing our own, and to admit our mistakes. In a society that often glorifies competition and individual achievement, this can be challenging. We are taught to assert ourselves, to showcase our strengths, and to hide our weaknesses. Yet love requires us to be vulnerable, to show our true selves, and to accept that we are not perfect. This honesty and openness create the foundation for genuine intimacy, where both partners feel seen, heard, and understood. The practice of love also involves learning to give without expecting anything in return. Many people approach love with a transactional mindset, believing that they should receive something in exchange for their affection. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of what love truly is. Love, in its purest form, is about giving, whether it is time, attention, support, or affection, without conditions. This act of giving is not about losing something. Rather, it is an expression of strength and abundance. It is through giving that we find fulfillment, as it allows us to connect deeply with others and feel a sense of purpose and belonging. Additionally, the practice of love requires patience. Our culture often values speed and efficiency, but love does not conform to these expectations. Real, lasting love grows slowly. It cannot be rushed or forced. It is cultivated through shared experiences, mutual understanding, and the gradual building of trust. Patience means allowing the relationship to evolve at its own pace, respecting the rhythms of both partners and understanding that setbacks are a natural part of the journey. Rather than seeing challenges as signs of failure, a loving person views them as opportunities to grow closer and strengthen the bond. Finally, the practice of love is deeply tied to self-love. To love others authentically, one must first learn to love oneself. This does not mean indulging in narcissism or egoism. Rather, it is about self-acceptance and self-care. If we cannot offer kindness, forgiveness, and understanding to ourselves, we will struggle to provide these to others. Self-love involves recognizing our own value, acknowledging our flaws, and committing to our own growth. It is only when we are at peace with ourselves that we can fully open our hearts to others. The practice of love is not about finding a perfect partner or living a fairy tale romance. It is about committing to a lifelong journey of growth, both as individuals and as part of a relationship. It requires dedication, discipline, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves. It involves learning to give freely, to listen attentively, to be patient, and to cultivate humility. By developing these qualities, we can transform love from a fleeting feeling into a powerful, enduring force that enriches our lives and the lives of those around us. This is the true art of love, an ongoing, active process that brings joy, fulfillment, and a deeper understanding of what it means to be human. Love is the silent understanding between two hearts that need no words. Conclusion. When we get to the end of The Art of Loving, it's evident that love is more than just a fleeting feeling or an event that just happens to us. It takes skill, practice, and knowledge to be a true lover. I have tried to demonstrate throughout this book that love is a skill that we can develop by cultivating certain traits inside ourselves, such as understanding, respect, care, and responsibility. We can only create deeper, more meaningful relationships and move past the flimsy, superficial ties that are so common in contemporary society by viewing love as an art form. Modern life, with its emphasis on consumerism, competition, and superficial success, often leads us to misunderstand what it means to love. We are taught to focus on acquiring love, to seek it as if it were a commodity, rather than to develop our own capacity to love. This mentality reduces love to a transaction, where the focus is on what we can get rather than what we can give. Yet, as I have argued, real love is about giving without expecting anything in return. It is an act of faith, a commitment to nurture the well-being and growth of another person, while also allowing ourselves to grow in the process. To love effectively, we must learn to see love as an ongoing practice, one that permeates every aspect of our lives. This means we cannot separate the act of loving from who we are. We must commit to developing a productive orientation that includes discipline, concentration, and patience. This is not just about how we treat our partners or loved ones, but how we approach life as a whole. To be truly loving, we must engage actively with the world, maintain a state of alertness and awareness, and cultivate a sense of inner peace that allows us to be fully present for others. Without these qualities, our attempts at love will remain superficial, and our relationships will fail to reach their true potential. The practice of love also calls for humility and the courage to be vulnerable. In a culture that prizes strength and self-sufficiency, it can be difficult to embrace our weaknesses and admit our need for connection. However, it is only by doing so that we can open ourselves up to genuine intimacy. Love is not about hiding behind a facade of perfection. It is about showing up as we are, with all our flaws and fears, and inviting others to do the same. This honesty and transparency are what make love real, and it is through this realness that we find true fulfillment. In conclusion, the art of love is an essential skill, one that can profoundly transform our lives and the lives of those around us. It is not enough to desire love. We must learn how to love. This requires us to move beyond passive longing and embrace active participation in the world, guided by the principles of care, responsibility, respect, and understanding. By doing so, we can break free from the constraints of a society that often distorts our perception of love and build connections that are genuine, nurturing, and enduring.